Okay, picture this. It's the middle of the night, everything is quiet, the house is totally still, and then bam, your eyes just pop open. You look at the clock, and yep, it's 3 a.m. Again. It is so frustrating, right? But what if I told you it's not actually a malfunction? What if it's a message? Well, in this explainer, we're going to decode exactly what your body is trying to tell you when it does that.
And hey, if that scenario sounds way too familiar, trust me, you are not alone. You're actually a member of this huge, kind of unofficial club that millions of us find ourselves in night after night.
Yep, we're calling it the 3 a.m. Club. And look, while nobody asks to join, figuring out why you're a member is absolutely the first step to getting your sleep and your sanity back on track.
So, what is actually going on here? I mean, why that specific time, right? It feels so random, but it's not. It's actually tied to some really precise, really predictable stuff happening in your body. That consistency, that's our biggest clue. And this is maybe the most important thing to get straight right now. Your body isn't broken. It's not failing you. It's communicating. So our job, together, is to figure out what it's saying, to learn its language. All right, first up, let's dive into the master control system, your body's internal clock. And more specifically, the powerful hormones that are kind of running the whole show while you're supposed to be asleep. So you can think of your sleep-wake cycle as this nightly duel between two really important hormones. In one corner, you've got melatonin. It's like the body's dimmer switch, right? It makes you drowsy and kicks off all that fix and rejuvenate work. And in the other corner, you've got cortisol, the get-up-and-go hormone that gets you ready for the day. Now, for most of the night, melatonin is winning. But then, right around 2 or 3 a.m., something really interesting starts to happen. And what's wild is how this whole balance changes as we age. Get this, as we get older, our melatonin production just naturally drops off. I mean, by the time you're 60, you might only be making half the melatonin you did when you were 20. So what does that mean? Well, it means your body can literally run out of its stay asleep signal too early, leaving the door wide open for cortisol to bust in and take over way before it's supposed to.
And this is where stress really messes things up. See, that little rise in cortisol in the morning, it's supposed to be a gentle nudge, a little whisper saying, hey, in a few hours, it'll be time to wake up. But if you're chronically stressed, your whole system is on high alert. It's oversensitive. And that gentle whisper, it feels more like an electric jolt, just yanking you right out of your sleep.
Okay, but it's not just about your hormones. Nope. What you eat, and just as importantly, when you eat it, can kick off what we're going to call a midnight fuel crisis. See, your brain is surprisingly busy at night, and it needs a steady stream of fuel to do its job. So if you have that late-night ice cream or a glass of wine, you're basically putting it on a roller coaster. First, your blood sugar spikes way up, then a few hours later, yep, right around 2 or 3 a.m., it comes crashing down. Your brain totally panics at this fuel shortage, and what does it do? It slams the emergency alarm, flooding your system with that exact same wake-up hormone, cortisol. And this kind of wake-up call feels different. It's often pretty scary. You might get a racing heart, a sudden wave of anxiety, maybe even start sweating. It can honestly feel like a full-blown panic attack because, from your brain's point of view, it is an emergency. It is screaming for fuel, for glucose, right now.
Now, at the very same time all this is happening with your brain, another organ is just clocking in for its most important shift of the day, your liver. Think of it as the body's midnight cleaning crew, and its absolute busiest, heaviest duty detox work, it happens smack dab in that 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. window. So let's say you've had a big, heavy dinner late at night, or a few drinks. You've just handed your cleaning crew a massive, unexpected job, and an overworked liver, well, it struggles. That struggle actually generates physical heat and stress in your body. And yeah, that's often more than enough to wake you up. You might even find yourself waking up feeling kind of hot and antsy. Okay, so we've got hormones and we've got metabolism, but there's a third really powerful player that shows up at 3 a.m., your own mind. Let's dig into why those little worries you have during the day can feel like an absolute catastrophe in the dead of night. This is actually some pretty cool brain science. Think of it like this. During the day, you have your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, acting like a wise, calm parent that keeps things in perspective. But at night, that part of your brain is basically offline. It's resting.
Meanwhile, your emotional brain, the limbic system where fear and worry live, is still wide awake and ready to party. And with no wise parent around to keep it in check, your anxieties can just run wild and feel 100 times bigger than they really are. There's this great quote from Barbara O'Neill that just nails it. She says, 3 a.m. thoughts are like drunk texts. Never trust them. I mean, how perfect is that? It's funny, but it's also a really powerful reminder that those 3 a.m. worries, they aren't reality. They're just distorted by what's happening in your brain at that moment. Okay, so we've met the culprits, we know what's going on. Now for the most important part. What in the world can you actually do about it? Let's get into the good stuff. Some real practical steps to help you reclaim your peaceful night. First things first, let's talk fuel. This is super straightforward. On the left, we've got the stuff to avoid. You know, the things that send your blood sugar on that crazy roller coaster or give your liver way too much work. But on the right, these are the game changers, simple swaps. So, instead of ice cream, maybe grab a handful of almonds to keep your blood sugar nice and steady. Instead of those aged cheeses, try some turkey or yogurt to help calm your body down. Honestly, these little changes can make a massive difference. Next up, you've got to teach your body that it's time to chill out. And that's where a wind-down ritual is absolutely key. The blue light from your phone, your tablet, your TV, it kills your melatonin production. So turning all screens off about 90 minutes before bed, that's step one. From there, it's about finding what works for you. A hot shower, reading an actual book, maybe some journaling or gentle stretching. It's all about signaling, hey, we're done for the day. And here are a few more foundational habits that honestly support everything else we've talked about. Getting just 10 minutes of morning sun, that's probably the most powerful thing you can do to set your internal clock. Consistency with your bedtime and wake-up time is king. And please, if you do wake up at 3 a.m., don't look at the clock. I know it's tempting, but it just feeds that anxiety loop and makes everything worse.
But what if you do all this stuff? You're eating right, you've got your wind-down ritual, and you still wake up sometimes? It's a really good question, because let's be real, it happens. So what do you do then?
Well, let me share a little piece of history that might just blow your mind and change how you think about all this. This idea we have of getting one solid 8-hour block of sleep is actually pretty new. For most of human history, people had what's called segmented sleep. They'd sleep for a few hours, wake up for a while in the middle of the night for a quiet period. Sometimes it was called the watch, and then they'd go back to sleep for a second block. So think about that for a second. Waking up in the middle of the night isn't necessarily a failure. It might just be your body remembering this ancient, totally natural rhythm. Just reframing it that way can take all the pressure off. It helps get rid of that panic and anxiety, which, let's be honest, are the real enemies of good sleep. Because when it comes down to it, every single one of these midnight wake-up calls, whether it's from your hormones, your blood sugar, or your anxious mind, it's just communication. They're all clues that can help you find a better balance. So the only real question left is, are you ready to start listening?